if you just, let's say Bitcoin goes to like $500,000 and on your way up every 50K, you just buy a put at the current market price to lock in your sort of, you start to build up insurance on the volatility if it crashes back down to 100K or something.
Right? Yeah, well, you have to also pick a duration for the put too. That's also a factor you got to consider.
The big thing you have to understand is that like these options are priced totally different based on the volatility as well. So it's very easy to like, with even a small move in the stock, because of like just how much the volatility's changed, the pricing of all this stuff like changes drastically. So, because a lot of times people aren't holding these things to expiration. They're buying a call option, let's say at now, and then they're planning to flip it in a month. And they're like, well, the price of Bitcoin went up, but then there's data decay, there's the volatility has changed, and all these things can make it so that you can be completely down on your position. But you're like, but Bitcoin's gone up 10% since I bought this. And it's there's a bunch of different factors, and you're going to fucking screw it up at the beginning. So if you are going to do it with very, very small positions.
Yeah. And the more volatile the subject.
I never like complimenting Chris, but he's just giving you some of the best advice you're going to get on options. I would heat that extremely tight. Hold it as tight as possible.
Thanks. But Chris, to follow up, the more volatile the topic, the more volatile the stock or the situation, the higher the prices are at the weirder prices, versus if it has really low volatility, you can get something way outside of the current market price for probably really cheap, I would assume.
I didn't quite hear the last sentence there perfectly, but it was just basically...
I was saying the higher the volatility, the more likely it is to have things way outside of the current market price to be also pretty expensive with the idea of the volatility.
Yeah, basically, the higher the volatility, the higher the premiums are probably going to be.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So you kind of want to be selling when the volatility is high.
Right, so right now, selling covered calls for 1,000 MSTR would actually probably be something where you could get an okay premium.
Yeah, but I don't know what's going on with MSTR and like how many people are shorting it like crazy, right? So like there could be a lot of people on that side. In normal market conditions, that's correct, but I don't know if there's like a lot of short interest against MSTR.
And if I want to see the entire short interest against MSTR and the entire long interest, is there like does TradingView have something really easy for you to just see all that in one view?
Listen, man, fucking options are a minefield. Like, you are going to get your fucking ass handed to you if you don't do this extremely carefully. Please do not.
It's just the greatest thing you'll see is that you'll see Bitcoin drop 5%, and if you have if you take a full Bitcoin and put it all into call options or something like that, and Bitcoin drops 5%, your portfolio could easily be down 60%, and like in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? And you're like, whoa, how did that little of a move cause me to lose this much money, right? Or Bitcoin completely be flat and your options are just completely falling off a cliff. So it's just kind of...
Right, and what we're talking about so far, just to be clear, I'm not talking about buying calls, I'm talking about selling calls or selling covered calls. Yeah. So this would be, I'd be on the opposite side of this where my risk is just, I didn't make as much,
For sure. I understand that, you're just going to find that, there's just
yeah, I got
you want to almost, if you're going to be doing this, you should also know what the pricing is like, and being able to determine what, calculate, there is different, calculators.
Also, you need to check the updated tax. I think that they do not yet in the United States consider that, I don't know what they do in Canada, consider that a constructive sale when you buy puts against a position you hold. But with normal securities, you're paying capital gains, and that's considered a constructive sale. Gotcha. So factor that in. We definitely factor that in because that can get really expensive on your Bitcoin gains.
I should say that, like, if you're trying to do this as like a strategy for your entire position, probably don't have the knowledge. And it would be hard for you to acquire the knowledge to like get it right this cycle. If you want to play with it like a tiny bit of money, just to kind of understand how this shit works today, that's different. But I'm saying don't use this as like a way to hedge your portfolio until you really know what the fuck you're doing.
Well, I like the idea of the two things that we talked about here, which is covered calls and buying puts as insurance. So I like these two kind of ideas, which I think are relatively low risk in terms of like how you can wreck yourself.
You don't know if the options are priced correct.
Well, the way I consider it is like any insurance. Like, do you feel like this is a ripoff for this premium of these puts? So I would just kind of think of it the same way, I guess. Right? You have to have what you buy would be considered a total loss. But you have to have a view that their pricing is correct, which like you versus the people who do this professionally. Well, I can also just go over like, do I have appetite for it at whatever price, right? So that would be
there's so many factors that affect the price of these options. So if you don't really know, and like the market's not completely like, sometimes there's a lot of fucking spread in the market. So it's not the most liquid instruments all the time. Especially when you're going out of the money, right? If you're going $1,000, like, you just don't know if you're paying fucking if you're how well priced this option is. So until you can actually really figure out if this is the well priced option, you don't know if you're fucking ever, even if you're correct and directed, you could be completely wrong because it's priced wrong.
But again, we're talking about just not making as much money just because I priced something incorrectly. For the covered calls, at least.
Right, and like if you're trying to do the covered call, you kind of, if you can do it, it's like when you think it's peaking the price, then you do sell the covered calls because that's when you get the most premium. And if you look right now, like if you try to sell MSTR at 1,000 at the end of December, you'll get like a 2,300 premium. And I mean, selling whatever your MSTR share is at $1,000 a share, they're going to give you $2,000 just for doing that. $2,300.
Yeah, I'll just do this for the rest of my life and just pay my mortgage for the rest of my life doing this, I guess. Okay, but yeah, Chris, appreciate, and whoever was just talking, thanks for the info in British as well.
Every system it touches. When enjoying out of greed and self-interest, others out of fear, or with ambitions of power.
There's a saying, when the devil ignores you.
Damn, Rumble's up 13%.
So this is a Bitcoin room on Clubhouse, and Hodl is
They're probably going to announce something. If it's moving like this, Rumble.
I joined in the Rumble and Marathon when I heard that they're going to be doing what MSTR is doing. I know British Hodl, you said it's not going to be the same, but I kind of FOMO'd in.
Man, I wanted to die behind this shit here, boy. I wanted to die and kill one of these niggas. One thing back, right? You ever seen a nigga tell a lie so good till it sound like the truth, and if I told you the truth, you don't believe the lie?
one of my favorite quotes to this day. Hodl put me back together. You can feel what people don't like you. They don't have to tell you. You can feel it. You can feel it.
God is not punishing you. He is preparing you. Trust.
The truth is,
And there's that MSTY stock, and then I think that thing is doing covered calls in itself. But if you look, its performance isn't doing as well as the underlying shares. We just held on to the shares. So, like doing that strategy, like even for them on the MSTY, they're not doing that well doing selling covered calls.
Oh, interesting. So you can buy MSTY and they're automatically doing the covered call strategy best they think is like the best they think, like to structure it, and they kind of suck at it, or compared to just holding MSTR.
I mean, that's my understanding. Yeah, I don't know what their strategy is exactly, but yeah, it's not doing that great. It's up a little bit, but it's not that.
Well, you'll go on this rabbit hole, you'll learn about options maybe too well. In the end, you'll realize you're probably better off just fucking, continue to fucking code and develop and just buy Bitcoin and sell stuff when it makes sense. And you probably be the end goal of this whole venture.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That definitely, you're 100% correct. I am here for the fun degeneracy of just doing this and experiencing life, and I definitely plan on going back to coding and getting back into under my rock after this.
Yeah, Tidwell, for you to buy MSTR at 3x, for example, for you to double your money, it would have to trade at a 6x premium, right, in the future. So that's kind of doesn't, that's kind of a little bit irrational in my opinion. Or you could buy it in spot and just have 100%, that would be a double. So you don't have to necessarily have a 6x premium to make 100% on your money.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well the other day, or yesterday, where, these things go to, what would it look like if it went back down to like 1x MNAV? It would mean that Bitcoin's price triples and MSTR's price stays the same, or something similar to this. MSTR goes down 66% and Bitcoin stays the same, right? So, yeah, I hear you.
Makes sense for who they are. And
obviously MSTR is benefiting from the FOMO and the AMC, GME, the excitement, and we've had this throughout history, of course. And can it last? I mean, he's doing everything right. There's a high demand for bond funds. These pension fund managers need yield. There's, the trillions now in pension funds, and all these companies and pension funds, hedge funds, well, not so much hedge funds, but pensions, like government pensions, police pensions, firefighter pensions. These are all multi-billion-dollar in every city, almost every large city. And all these people have investment policies where they have to invest. And I can guarantee you 95 to 99% of these investment policies do not allow them to buy spot Bitcoin. So how do they get exposure to Bitcoin? They're going to go out and buy the bond, or they're going to go buy MSTR, because they can't buy straight up Bitcoin. They might not even be able to buy ETFs. So it's an easy way for these companies and these large funds to get exposure. And eventually that will subside, and I just think the MSTR premium will come down below 2. And so I think at this point it doesn't make sense, because if I can buy it at one time, if I can buy it at spot, I don't need MSTR to go up 6x premium to get 100% on my money.
Did you see Adam Back said 2.5 seems low or something?
No. I mean, historically, stocks, have traded at 1 to 3 times market cap to sales, right? That would be a price to sales ratio for companies. That's kind of what you can value it on. You know, a lot of companies that have like high margins, like Walmart and all that, they like retail companies sell at one times revenue, and you know, like your Googles and all that might sell at 3, 4, 5, 6 times revenue. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to sell at 6 times. I mean, I think sometime, you know, 1.5 or less for MSTR would be appropriate.
I think Junsen has also called Ironback a degenerate when it comes to investing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He talked.
I just thought it was fun because before this, I didn't even look at Adam Back's, you know, in terms of this perspective, and then, and then like obviously like he tweets, I'm like, oh, he talked about MSTR, like.
Based on his tweets about trading and all that, I do think he trades quite a bit, Adam. But keep in mind, he does not live in the United States. I don't think he has tax implications at all.
Where does he?
You know where he lives?
What country?
He's in Malta. Andrew just brought up a very interesting point. With the new Treasury Secretary favoring tariffs over taxes, and you guys talking about these option trades, does that new policy change actually make it more bullish for this activity or less? Because I haven't heard anybody talk about that.
Just trying to. I think it's an interesting question, but I don't know enough. From what I know, tariffs have to do with imports, exports, goods exclusively. I don't know if it applies to financial markets.
Well, what I was saying, Andrew, I'm thinking about when you make trades like this, you always consider taxes. Income taxes are going to be eliminated for tariffs. I would think that would shape one's ideas about at least the next calendar year in terms of the option trades on MSTR in a big way, because this could be a very, very interesting maneuver. I actually think it's a much more bullish idea to actually do make the option trade. And, you know, if Radu was on here, he'd probably be the guy that would be very interesting to talk to about this, because he's probably sitting on a shit ton of capital gains. And if his income tax goes away, that's a big reason not to actually pull anything off the table just yet. Just see what this Treasury Secretary does in the first 100 days.
Yeah, I can see that thinking. It's bullish.
Cannot do aught unto me. This is why Demetrius said to Nero, he threatened you with death, but it is nature who threatens you. The beginning of philosophy is to know the condition of one's own mind. If a man recognizes that this is in a weakly state, he will not then want to apply it to questions of the greatest moment. As it is, men who are not fit to swallow even a morsel buy whole treatises and try to devour them. Accordingly, they either vomit them up again or suffer from indigestion, whence come gripings, fluxions, and fevers, whereas they should have stopped to consider their capacity. It theory, it is easy to convince an ignorant person. In actual life, men not only object to offer themselves to be convinced, but hate the man who has convinced them. Whereas Socrates used to say that we should never lead a life not subjected to examination. This is the reason why Socrates, when reminded that he should prepare for his trial, answered, "Thinkest thou not that I have been preparing for it all my life? In what way I have maintained that which in me lay? How so? I have never secretly, openly done wrong unto any. In what character dost thou now come forward? As a witness summoned by God, come thou, saith God, and testify for me, for thou art worthy of being brought forward as a witness by me. Is aught that is outside thy will, either good or bad? Do I hurt any man? Have I placed the good of each in the power of any other than himself? What witness dost thou bear to God? I am in evil state, master, I am undone. None careth for me, none giveth me aught. All men blame, all speak evil of me. Is this the witness thou wilt bear and do dishonour to the calling wherewith he hath called thee? Because he hath done thee so great honour, and deemed thee worthy of being summoned to bear witness in so great a cause? Wouldst thou have men speak good of thee? Speak good of them. And when thou hast learned to speak good of them, try to do good unto them, and thus thou wilt reap in return their speaking good of thee. When thou goest into any of the great, remember that another from above sees what is passing, and that thou shouldest please him rather than man. He therefore asks thee, in the schools, what didst thou call exile, imprisonment, bonds, death, and shame? I call them different things, and I call them things indifferent. What then dost thou call them now? Are they at all changed? No. It is then thou that art changed. No, say then, what are things indifferent? Things that are not in our power. Say then what follows, that things which are not in our power are nothing to me. Say also what things you hold to be good, a will such as it ought to be, and a right use of the things of sense. And what is the end? To follow thee. That Socrates should ever have been so treated by the Athenians, slave. Why say Socrates? Speak of the thing as it is. That ever then the poor body of Socrates should have been dragged away and haled by main force to prison. That ever hemlock should have been given to the body of Socrates. That should have breathed its life away. Do you marvel at this? Do you hold this unjust? Is it for this that you accuse God? Had Socrates no compensation for this? Where then for him was the ideal good? Whom shall we hearken to, you or him? And what says he? Anytus and Miletus may put me to death, to injure me is beyond their power. And again, if such be the will of God, so let it be. Nay, young man, for heaven's sake, but once thou hast heard these words, go home and say to thyself, it is not Epictetus that has told me these things, how indeed he, no, it is some gracious God through him, else it would never have entered his head to tell me them. He that is not used to speak to anyone thus. Well then, let us not lie under the wrath of God. part of the history of our country. All were gone. And the liquidity. Many differences along today. Other names of thought and Roman started across our fleet. And instead, our country is doing the gap. There were no leaders who thought of giving in. I got more government to be able to live driving life in Ireland. And we ourselves never doubted it. We now find ourselves in a position where I say we can be sure that we have only if persevere to conquer.
Most people would be emotionally attached to listening, to learning, changing their mind. If we took the narrow path, which is engaging in a manner of very strongly steelmanning the people, and more than steelmanning logic and science, steelmanning people's emotions, how beliefs and worldviews affect us in our day-to-day life. What do the role
Steve. I hope that helps out. Is there anything else I can help you with? I did say that I was also going to bring a gift bag for you. So there's enough money for a couple meals, get yourself a sandwich somewhere or something. Of course. Yeah, well, you have a good night, eh? Have a good night. Are you hungry by chance? I got something for you. Yeah, let's go hot dogs. Of course. And I'm going to the store. Can I get you something to drink? I'll get you whatever you want. Just water? That's it? Okay, awesome. Okay, you're going to be here? Yeah, I'll be right back. I'll get you a water and a gift, all right? Get her a big bottle of water.
You touch somebody's daughter in our family, I don't care who you are. Daughter, mother, granddaughter, goddaughter, whatever. You touch somebody in our family, I don't care who you are. Daughter, mother, granddaughter, goddaughter, whatever. You touch somebody in our family, then I pay you a visit. And I don't care who's with you, because whoever's with you, they interfere, they go in the same way. You touch somebody in our family.
To face whatever it is critical for you to just, be free. I don't like the sense of being locked in or bondage or tied up or that's more so like close-minded. They're boxed in, they're closed in, and they don't have freedom. There's no freedom. But yeah, I would like for people to exercise open-mindedness so it can help them understand what they were taught all their lives. It helps them ask questions, Just ask questions.
I don't even want to waste your time. Don't you get it?
Can
Like, I'm a nice
definitely
person. I don't want to waste your time. But,
I don't know, close-mindedness just reminds me of what we're taught.
Which takes away even more from your wife and children. See how
it doesn't challenge us, your beliefs or beliefs.
I don't want to waste your time. I already
It
wasted
just
enough.
doesn't challenge you. Well, yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm a good person.
Pretty awesome.
Despite what they say, I'm a good human being that will treat people with respect.
So, yeah, this is the way I tackle this question, right? For me, it's all about self-regulation. You can put it in a spiritual, scientific, philosophical way. I think we can resonate in all worldviews. Because a person who is well regulated, a brain that is not easily triggered, will be able to sit and listen and digest the information and reduce the inferences that other people are making, or that you're making about other people's discourse, right? Ultimately, hopefully giving you the ability to actually sit through speaking and listening and learning without going into fight mode, into I'm right, you're wrong, or what you're doing is going to take you down a dark road of nastiness. And so, for me, my greatest realization in the last few months has been, it's all about how well regulated we are, how much self-control, what our ability is to push our own boundaries to a degree and to listen to someone without having this reactive reaction and saying, and then digesting, right? And then seeing how you can relate to it. And then yes, I think to me this is the first part of the labor through with people. The next step is, but this is what I've come to, and this is why, and these are my resources. This is how I back up my beliefs. Always with hopefully a sort of generosity of saying, you know what, I know I don't hold I might be very different what I believe, but I know humanity doesn't work in a way that I'll be able to convince others or to change people's minds by just engaging, no matter how lovingly and kindly I'm engaging. I have to understand that we are all hardwired, and changing our minds is something that's not easy to do. But I think that's the way I would approach your idea of being open-minded, right? Being relaxed-minded, mind-regulated. So that you can engage with people and not react in a way that will turn a conversation into a confrontation.
What he heard on the voicemail when his dog daycare called his owners.
I want to give you a quick update.
This dog was shocked when he heard on the voicemail when his dog daycare called his owners.
I want to give you a quick update.
Great. Any final thoughts before we close this down? We just finished chapter 3. We're going to chapter 4. Go ahead.
I read it in 2009. It helped with serious open-mindedness back then. I had asked plenty of questions, but they were to myself. I didn't ask other people. And whatever question I had, I wrote them down. But this book was one of those stepping stones to where I'm at today. But yeah, it's a really good book. I actually love the title because the word God and delusion together is automatically a fight, you know? But I love it. Dawkins, he has his way of breaking it down, which, I could have did the same thing because, we share the same sentiment within the book. But yeah, it's back to having an open mind, mighty funny. We all have the same way of thinking almost, and we don't even know each other. But yeah, it all stems from asking questions. I'll make sure you're to listen to the rest of the book, and yeah, thank you for reading.
It's my pleasure. Hope to see you next week. And what was I going to say? Yeah, that's what I said at the beginning of these final thoughts on what we have read so far. It is a provocation. And in my estimation,
he's such a nice guy, isn't he?
This dog was shocked when he heard on the voicemail when his dog daycare called his owners.
People who are already on board with God being more of an illusion.
There's only one thing in this world that will love you more than itself. Your dog.
And the approach I would take,
there's only one thing,
is one of passive communication, connected with people, and push back intimacy. And actually, I find that it's, with practice, you can be quite effective. Because I don't think my approach is to take off the dark See, approach it by keeping it. You go with the flow, you use the energy of your interlocutor, you create a confidence to move forward. And I think what waiting around is when you
One of them starts with a C, one of them starts with a B, one of them starts with a D. So
being self-regulated, I think having self-control to promote the virtues that are implicit in most traditions. When you've overcome rivalries and tribalism and all these other things that are quite pernicious to human communication. With that said, I do need to shut this room down. I appreciate everyone's company. Next week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be reading Chapter 4. Thank you, Joey.
So, what you doing over there, Eleanor? Say about Russia?
I can't really say.
Oh, shoot. He's putting together that plan, baby Steve. How long are you there for?
Couple weeks.
You just arrived?
No, I've been here a week.
Oh, okay. Is it nice over there?
Oh, very nice. I was outside swimming in the snow the other day.
What the hell? I might do that.
Yeah, we white people are nuts.
Was it cold or what?
Yes, it's cold and snowy. It was snowing while I was swimming.
Like, how does that fucking work? You don't get sick afterwards?
It's fun. I did actually get a little cold, but I'm over it now.
Oh, Normal, why are you such a... I don't know what to say.
Well, figure it out. If you feel some kind of
I
way...
want to be nice about it, but I want to forget to do it.
No, you don't.
Oh, here, I figured out the word. Why are you such a smart?
I don't think you know what that word means. Use a word that you know.
I can use the context for you. What did he call you? A smart what?
Don't say smart.
Oh,
I like it.
We've heard the term for like literally decades. We can even understand from the usage, it means somebody who is like an idiot, ne'er-do-well, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Why would you assume they didn't know how to word what the word means?
You used it incorrectly, and you said
You
it.
are a schmuck. You are a schmuck. Why are you a schmuck?
Well, first of all, use a word that... Listen,
in my opinion of how you behave. How can I be wrong?
You know what they call a person who doesn't know what schmuck means? They call them a schmuck.
Okay, so what does it mean? Look at this schmuck over here. Doesn't even know what a schmuck is. What does it mean if it doesn't mean idiot or ne'er-do-well? Go ahead. What is it?
Ask. I know you looked up on Google. Say what you're really trying to say.
What does it mean if it doesn't mean a ne'er-do-well?
Go back to it.
Moving off the plane, ladies and gentlemen.
What am I doing?
Moving off of the claim.
Oh, no, I'm not moving off the claim. No, I've been accused of many things. Nobody's ever accused me of being an idiot or a ne'er-do-well or a schmuck. And you know, and I know you're mean that, so
I don't think you're an idiot
if you think that. So,
let me ask you this, Normal.
Yeah.
What have you said that demonstrates that you're not a schmuck?
Oh, well, almost everything I say. I'll give you a few examples. They're trying to figure out the abortion debate I organized into 3 lanes. Just listen. I tried to organize it into 3 domains: the legal, the theological or religious, and the medical. That's an example. That was just today. Then I also figured out why black folks have so much.
Was I there? Was I there?
I don't know. Who knows? I don't even know who you are.
All right, here's a perfect example why you're smart.
Sure.
Why would you use in a situation where you don't even know if I was there to evaluate your schmuckiness?
Well, I gave you all the data you need to evaluate it. But again, you may be incapable of evaluating it, which adds to your schmuck factor. I do, and you clearly don't get it. So you can't hear what I'm saying. You're just trying to talk.
I don't get it.
I understand that you don't get it. So how do I explain something to an idiot or a ne'er-do-well? How do I explain it?
I don't know why you would use an example of you not being a schmuck where I wasn't present for you to have demonstrated.
I don't know who you are, but I am. I told you what I said. So you evaluate what. Oh, I see. So what you're supposed to do is evaluate what I said. No, I'm in the song.
Well, nothing to evaluate. You made it plain. I did.
Yes.
What's the fucking point?
So
what's the point?
That Lala?
The point is that he is demonstrating that he's a schmuck whilst trying to prove that he's not a schmuck. Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm not trying to prove anything. I was just trying to educate you on a topic, but you were too loud to listen. And I don't want to.
Take that to be the same.
You were so loud. And
I take to be.
You were so loud and full of bullshit that you couldn't even ask the question, but you couldn't. You asked the question, but you couldn't even listen to the answer. A true schmuck.
I take educating and demonstrating to be synonyms in this context.
Yeah.
So again,
I was demonstrating to you a way of thinking about abortion, but you couldn't listen.
No,
you clearly over your head.
You made it question. You made it question.
So did you hear what I said?
Yes. You said that you looked at abortion in three different lenses: physical, theological, and some other lens.
Yeah. But that's the opposite.
Did I ask you, was I there? Did I ask you if I was there? And you said, I don't know.
Yeah, that's correct. You may have done that.
It's almost like, all right, so look, it's almost like if somebody were to say, I just took the SAT and I scored a perfect score.
No, it's not almost like that. I gave you an example of something that I said.
And I said,
all right, listen, you know what? I got a girl waiting for me. Your head's filled with concrete. Yeah, you have a nice day too. Your head is filled with concrete. You are truly a concrete. What's the fuck?
And that's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta say, concrete. You really, I mean, can you actually prove in 3 sentences that you're an intelligent person? Try to prove it.
Oh, look at Edmund. Edmund, what's up, bro? Somebody told me that you had made your last account since you got booted off, and here you are with yet another account.
I put out misinformation all the time on this app. You haven't figured that out yet?
If you're just saying that you reneged on your prior statements, then yeah, I have figured that out.
Well, Mike Moon is here. Mike Moon is a fan of my artwork. He's a harsh critic, though, but he's a fan. I have many fans and many harsh critics.
What kind of art do you do?
I do art. It's spelled A-R-T.
Yeah, what kind of art do you do?
I do many different forms of art.
Yeah. Do you compose music?
Yes.
Do you design clothes?
Yes.
Do you work with paintings?
Yes.
Sketches?
Yes.
Sculptures?
Yes.
Statues?
Yes.
Anything?
Yes. You might say that what we're doing right now is considered A-R-T.
Oh my gosh. He thinks he's very clever, ladies and gentlemen.
I asked you a sentence if you could prove you're intelligent in 3 sentences.
Who would I be trying to prove it to?
To yourself, to your listeners.
I don't need sentences to prove it to myself. So, great try.
Okay, so you're incapable of answering a question.
If that's what you got from what I just said.
Okay. So I would like to propose that this room be a Friendsgiving. You know, I don't have anything against anybody here personally. I think everybody here is a fine, outstanding clown house, medicine. And we should all really, see, I knew concrete would leave. So anyways, Oscar, Mr. President of Clowntown, what are you doing for Friendsgiving? Manville, are you going to arrest anybody before Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'm sure.
How many people have you arrested in your life?
Couple hundred.
You know, my dad was a cop for 30 years, and one time I took his handcuffs and I slapped it on my wrist, you know, like in the movies. I almost broke my fucking wrist. That shit's solid steel.
Did you have a key?
Yeah. Yeah. He got angry with me once because I took his cuffs out of his belt. He's like, "Don't touch those. Do you know how fucking dirty those are?"
Well, you try to like disinfect them, but you know.
Yeah, but his shit was probably like 20 years old. I mean, I don't think he touched it unless he had to. I know he probably cleaned them, but you know, just saying. Maybe he was just fresh off the beat.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Handcuffs are way more uncomfortable than most people probably would think they are because they're heavier and the edges of them digging into your wrist. It's not a good feeling at all.
It's definitely a pain tactic.
I mean, it depends. The newer handcuffs are definitely more uncomfortable.
So they make them even more because the reality is they don't have to be made that uncomfortable. So I get the feeling that it's partly on purpose.
Yeah.
The ASP handcuffs are more rounded and larger. Like you keep your hands further apart. They're much more comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a.
I feel like they're sharp on the edges so that you can't pull on them real hard.
The purpose is control, really. I mean, they're mass manufactured and they're deburred a little bit, but they're not like going over each one and polishing every handcuff and making them like super smooth. Like you have to work on them yourself to get them to operate smoothly.
Oh, they suck.
But they are close together to give you control. Because if the hands are too wide apart, then people can move their body too easily.
You know how I am 100% sure that there is a connection somehow linguistically with words, you know, forwards and backwards. And it only works with certain words, like cuff, which means fuck, backwards. There's other examples like dog and God or exit and ticks. I mean, any word that has a meaning backwards, I'm sure there's a list. I don't know what that's called in linguistics, but, you know.
I don't know either.
So I gotta say, you know, police brutality, like I'm on YouTube and I'm watching these ghetto videos of like shot callers in the streets living in their projects. And, you know, I could see why African Americans living in the hood are upset that 60,000 Venezuelans have moved into their territory because those people are now competing for, you know, homeowner taxpayer dollars, aka, you know, handouts. And it's been going on for. Tato. Tato, do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, Brody. How could you say you hate me? Where you been lately? I done ran through a tennis crazy. I ain't gonna catch a word about you as the one. Like Tracy McGrady gave you my whole heart that you gonna have fun and you still acting crazy. I'm 2 weeks in coach, but I'm not shady. I can't cap out love different. Fucked up cause these drugs different. Hey, Jordan, you gonna play doubles everything? Different.
No, I think Tato should have a YouTube channel if he's not already doing this on YouTube.
3 Bobby about what, baby?
Listen, I can't even get any viewers. I can't even get subscribers. I can't monetize. But if you're in the hood and you're filming hood rats shooting ghetto videos,
What you trying to say, bro? Like, what the fuck?
200 videos, you'll have 300,000 subscribers. I'm telling you, it is about the content.
Subscribers, bitch ass nigga. I got 214,000 subscribers. Lame ass nigga.
Well, shit. Do you monetize it?
I don't monetize it. Nigga, my manager control my YouTube, nigga.
Oscar, what is going on?
We talk about YouTube and rap videos. Don't come in here kicking nobody.
Nobody was talking about YouTube and rap videos.
I mean,
Nobody
Manville, I mean, are you not like part of the culture itself, Manville? I mean, you enforce the law in these areas, Manville.
You're talking about police brutality.
I am the law. I am the law.
Are you actually Manville? Are you actually Judge Dredd?
I don't know what Oscar doing if it went over you.
I love Judge Dredd.
That's a great movie, isn't it? Wesley Snipes is the shit. That is a great movie. Oh wait, no, that's not. Is that no? That's not.
That's not Judge Dredd. That's fucking U.S. Marshals.
No. What was the one where Wesley Snipes? They have him frozen. They bring him back to with
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
Yeah, with Stallone. Yeah.
That was a dope movie. I like that movie. And yeah,
you don't know about the 3 seashells?
Yeah, I love that. That is a fucking dope movie. Have you seen him now? He was endorsing Trump recently. His hair plugs are to the max. He has had a facelift. His eyebrows are permanently lifted. That could be the Botox. But, you know, he's a really big social media influencer with his daughters who are fine as all hell. And talk about somebody, you know, who is making movies and videos and films 8 hours a day. I mean, he's you know, he's like the Kardashians, essentially. That's what he's pulled off. He has his own little Kardashian business, but the Kardashians are the queens of, every one of them is a billionaire now. It's unfucking believable. And their power and their influence will not wane because of Meta, because of Google, because of Microsoft. You know, giant fat asses and photoshopped videos and pictures. These bitches, when they're 80, they'll be looking 39. Because look what they did with Robert De Niro, you know, in that movie with the Teamsters. You know, they made Robert De Niro look young in the whole movie. Like and people went out and saw that shit because it was a Scorsese mafia film. So Mike, you know, I'm gonna like change up my live streaming here on Clubhouse, and I'm gonna try to like capture the biggest rooms, you know, 10 hours a day for 30 days across new accounts, and try to like rebrand it, because I cannot get subscribers. I cannot get views. I mean, Hampton Spears can post a video about, you know, 5 black chicks beating each other up and get like 100,000 views immediately. So, you know, nobody cares what people are saying on Clown House, or the algorithm will not reward me for anything on this app. So I don't know. I'm going to try to like continue to experiment with it, but.
Well, I mean, if the founders of this thing can't like figure out a way to make it have any value, then I doubt you'll be able to do it on your own.
Dude, they've already cashed out, and they already sell the data to the biggest real-time bidding exchanges. They're monetizing this. And you know why? Because they've got the relationships. But there's really no real good commercial value in here. It does pose some type of a surveillance capital future, you know, financial monetization. Because, you know, a lot of my profiles and all my content are on here. But the thing is, nobody's going to go back and look at profiles and play and replay rooms from years ago. So this app really is like alive because it has, you know, a bank account. And whatever they're doing, they're keeping it afloat. But as you'll notice, there are no new party hats. Nobody new ever comes to it.
The problem is the same fucking people every single day.
Yep.
Even if you did find the possibility of gathering something important from it, you would have to believe in the importance of the people that are here who are speaking in the first place. And you're not getting a mix of new ideas. You're getting the same fucking people that come in the same fucking rooms and say the same fucking thing.
Well,
I stopped talking, to be honest with you. I stopped talking to you. I just sit at the bottom. I use it as background like noise because I'm ADHD and I enjoy having background noise in my head while I'm working. But the
and I like to listen to people's conversation. Like in the old days, if I could have like sat on the phone as a third party and listened to two people talk to each other on the phone, I would have enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So it just feels like that. In fact, when I get in a room where two people are just talking and I don't have 14 other people busting in and re-distracting the conversation to something stupid just to make a point and hear themselves speak, that's even better. So like small rooms with a couple people having a conversation, dude, I'll listen to that for fucking hours.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that, to me, I mean, you may say you have, ADHD, but to me, when I listen to people and I'm being a voyeur, I want to still jump into that conversation, and so the problem is I can't stop thinking.
They realize they don't give a fuck what I have to say. They
Well,
don't give a fuck. Nobody here gives a fuck what anyone has to say.
What I'm saying is it's too distracting. It's too distracting to want to jump into a conversation because then.
No. I got past that point, man. In fact, it helps me. It helps me kind of like. I mean, when I can moderate my emotion better when I'm being silent during it. I have a harder time moderating it when I'm speaking.
Well, because
so I enjoyed it. I enjoy sitting and just listening. I was listening today, and I figure out things. I solve problems that these people like. They go back and forth about something, and I figure out why they're fighting over it. I can understand it. I get what they're both saying. I can see both sides of it all day long.
But you claim, but are you?
What's going on, and they don't.
But are you making a claim that you're doing work in the real world while you're listening to people having these convos?
Oh, I do all day long. I have a headset. I have one of those Java things, where I can hear the real world, and it just plays like
that's what I'm doing too.
on my
Yeah.
awareness. Here's an example, Joy. So today I was in a room listening to these black people. It was a black person room, and they were bashing Jews. And then some Jewish people came in, our typical Normo and whatever.
That was this long, Mike.
Ronan, yeah, came in and started like defending, Israelis and Zionists, and then the black people said, "Oh, no, you guys are evil." And went back and forth. And really, what they were actually arguing about was this idea that both of them have sympathy for the fact that kids shouldn't die, like innocent kids shouldn't die. We all agree. They also all agree that the Palestinians are miserable people who are pissed off, and that's why they did October 11th. Everybody knows that. They live in a shitty place. They're not allowed to go anywhere. The Israelis do keep tabs and fences around them, and their existence sucks. They fucking admit it. Both sides know that's true.
Yeah, but Mike, hold on. I gotta say that it's not just because they're in a shitty situation. It's because they're psychotic, hyper-religious, insane people, murderous, and really just totally suicidal.
The other side, but here's what I noticed. So let me stick with me. Hang on for a second, because I listened to this for like hours. Every time somebody says something like Israel's responding because of October 11th or 7th, and if October 7th hadn't happened, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. The next person goes back in time, and they say, "Oh, but you can't do October 11th. You got to do 1943 when the Israeli did this to them." So they keep going back in time to justify why it's okay today to kill innocent people. So both sides are willing to kill innocent people as long as you go back far enough to blame the other side first. But what's really fucking dumb about the whole thing is that it really comes down to the fact that the Palestinians are fucking miserable, and you can blame two different things. You can blame Hamas, their own leadership. You can blame their own inability to put people in charge of themselves, to vote, to allow their inability to allow somebody reasonable to lead them. Therefore, they can't have their own space because they won't lead it properly. They'll have their own space and act like a bunch of fucking savages. Or you can blame the Israelis for saying, "No, but you guys, you push them down so hard that they have no chance."
Mike, did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did not, no.
Okay, so your fault that he's in power because you didn't have it.
No, hang on. This can go on all day long. This can go on all fucking day long. It's my fault that I didn't vote for him. No, I voted for the other side. It's not my fault.
Let me finish. So, since it's the case that you're blaming the Palestinians for their leadership, I'm going to blame you for your leadership. You are the problem, and you're the reason why.
I get it, but my country, I get it, concrete, but you know what? This is not just my opinion of my leadership. My leadership functions effectively, effective enough. I actually don't live in misery, and I'm the first to admit, concrete, I don't live like the Palestinians in America. Therefore, my leadership is acceptable whether or not I like who's in charge.
That's
not what they got going on. What they got going on is a bunch of fucking
prison cell looks different than their prison cell. You are still dealing with